Hey guys, so I'm doing a revised craft room tour. So I'm going to start off by walking you through. This hasn't changed very much since my last update. So this is my built-in shelf that I have here in my space. And this storage up here, this is really tall. So I do store some of my storage containers that are like my iris containers. I have, what do you call those? I have my splatter box. So anytime I do any splatters, that's the brown box. My Felicity Jane box has all of any types of cuts that I've made on my Cricut that I have left over, I have in there, so I can always pull from there, and that one is just sitting empty. All of the rest of my 12 by 12 storage is currently being occupied, so that is a great thing. So let's start here. This is very simple. This is all of my 8.5 by 11 cardstock that I have in my stash. Everything from where you see kind of the coils there, those are what is left for idea books that I have in my stash. I used to have, I could probably have filled that whole top section with idea books that I never looked at. So that's what I have remaining. Some of those are very sentimental. Some of them are signed. And the others, I just use periodically. So I just keep those in my stash. Those are, I think out of everything, those are the ones that I would go to the most. So, okay, second shelf. This one right here is all of my seasonal collections. Anything paper pad related to the seasons how I file them, go in there. My filing system is seasonal, like I mentioned, and it goes from winter. So winter and Christmas are together. Spring, anything that happens in the spring is there. A lot of my florals are also in there. The next section here is summer. In my, I just put the bookends there because you'll see you can't see it well, but you see that there's a gap there. I have a lot of room still on these shelves. So I need to tidy this one up, but here everything was slouching because it's a good thing. There's not a ton of stuff. There's not a ton of collections in those. So they were slouching and I don't like how that looks. So I just put some bookends in there and it's just holding all of my supplies in place. But anyway, back to it. Summer, everything that happens in summer, and then, and I have fall. So anything fall related goes in that last section. It's been working great. I know exactly what I have, exactly where things are. It's really good. Okay, so here, let's talk about the collections first. Sorry, they're a little bit messy. I didn't tidy those up before filming, but this is where I have my more themed collections. So what I mean by that is that I have enough collections in this to kind of make up their own categories, and everyone's going to be slightly different, but you'll see I have a travel collection, like a travel section. I have a celebration section. I have a feminine, masculine section. I have a pet one. I have home, I think it's home and family, or it's more like everyday home and family type section. And I think that's it. I think those are the only, I did used to have a sports one, but my kids, I think that's the one that's towards the front. I don't have a ton of stuff there, just because I haven't been purchasing them. I haven't really seen anything I like. And then what you have in front of those collections, are my filler pages. So those filler pages that I use for empty, like B side of the page protectors when you don't have a layout when you're finishing up an album. So I have those sitting in one of those folders. I have my ledger paper. I have my floral paper, wood grain, ledger. And then I think I'm forgetting one. I'm just going to scoot on over. I can't even read my writing. I know that says, I know one of these is a cut aparts. That's notebook and ledger. Ledger. I think that's it. And so I do have some chipboard there. So just plain chipboard. I've had it. I just didn't feel like throwing it away. I do have, like, if there's any specialty papers, that's usually where I keep it. When I destash, I use that purple plastic folder envelope, whatever you want to call it, to put any papers that I want to destash that I can always use the B side of it, particularly if I'm going to wallpaper an entire page with paper. I'd rather not use one of my good white cardstocks, and I'll use the back of one of those papers. So that's why I keep that there. And then if I'm going to a crop, I'll leave a very small stash in there, and then I'll take the rest of the papers to the crop. That is my color binder, one of my my notebooks, composition notebooks with die cuts. I have a couple of those. I only have two, and they're by collection. So that's the crepe paper one. I have one here right on my desk. This is the other one, and I just label them so that I know which manufacturers. Let me just show you here, just which manufacturers they cover, and so I know which one to grab. And then this is just a really so that I don't have to dig through my cardstock. I keep kind of my most used neutrals there. So I have my white, textured and smooth, and navy and gray and black. I keep in that envelope. And if I'm going to a crop, I usually just check the inventory in there and then just add as needed. And then I can just take that with me without having to take a ton of stuff. So here is my current thicker storage. Those were stackable snap 13 by 13 storage bins. And that's the one that was, I have one more, and that's the one that's at the top of that shelf. But these two fit perfectly here, side to side. And they have a lip on them from when they snapped. And I just use that to pull them in and out. And it's been working great. It's an odd sized height for this particular shelf, but it's perfect for these stickers, and it fits almost all of them. These are all my alphas. I do have my phrases, what I consider phrases, on my Raskog. So this is just all letters. You'll see when sometimes when I get, I'm de-kitting or I'm putting things away, I go ahead and I just put things on here if I don't have time to put things away. And then whenever I have a minute or two, same thing for the paper that goes down here, I'll just put it here on the top, and then eventually I do put it away. This bottom section can use some help here. It probably needs one of those bookends because I see them, they're kind of slouchy. And then this is all of my color cardstock and pattern paper. So in Roy G. Biv, they're all stored here. I have made it a point to not buy any more cardstock other than what I currently use, like for my neutrals that I mentioned earlier. So this is stuff that I'm trying to use up and go through, as well as the 8.5 by 11. It's the same situation over there. So this is another. This is something I've had in my stash for a really, really long time, and it's just a Sterilite drawer. They're really deep and long. I consider them long, and they store quite a bit of stuff. So this bottom section has a lot of like office, more like office and like photo printing type supplies. So my selfies in there, all the cords, my hard drives and all kinds of stuff is in there. And then the top is all of my stamps. All of my stamps are all in there. My fuse tool, my MISTI, and my stamp cleaner thing. Very sophisticated. So those all sit like literally right here next to my area. It's the perfect kind of spot for this. It is on its last leg. The leg, one of the rolling legs keeps popping out, but it is what it is. So and then this top section, I just wanted to show you, it really is not really about the section, but it's about this storage. This is where I store, currently it's holding any of my unfinished base pages. It is holding any page kits that I've prepped. And currently it's holding my my kits for 30 days of sketches. So if you're on the market for one of these, I know this one I bought from a friend of mine who she sold Initials. I think it's called Initials Inc. They're out of business. They're no longer in existence, but it's perfect. During the height of the pandemic, I actually used to use this for a multitude of things. So I even stored like my work stuff in here, like my notebooks, because I had several notebooks just for work related tasks and things. So I've used it for that. Sometimes I would use it to because I had a whole bunch of stuff to carry from floor to floor. I would use it for that here and in the old house. Laptops and all kinds of different things that needed to go up and down the stairs. It's great because it has a strap. But I do really like it because it is fabric, but so I'm sure you'll be able to find something if you're interested in this. Creative Memories might even sell something like this, but even 31 bags or any of those, if I was on the market for another one, I'd probably just look for like canvas 13 by 13 and just make sure it has a strap or something like that if that's important to you. But yeah, this is my little corner here. I am filming horizontally, so I do to get a better shot for you guys. So, but this is basically it. This is the little corner. And I'm going to shift over and I'm going to walk you through the rest of the room. Okay, you'll have to excuse the shakiness of this video. If it bothers you, I apologize ahead of time. This is the only way to get the angle. So there's a Sterilite container that I was referring to earlier. And here's an overview of my desk. This is what it looks like when it's clean. And I have the two short Alex drawers to my left and my right. My little stool for my feet, my desktop, all of it is from IKEA. The kind of the shelf that you see there is also from IKEA. And the two kind of monitor risers are also from IKEA. The nice thing about the monitor risers are because they are incredibly light and versatile, I can move them up if I need the additional height, like for calls and things like that for work, or when I'm scrapbooking with friends. It's really nice to have just the elevation, so it's not like having to take a space like here. So that's really great. I do really enjoy having both of them. They serve different purposes during my downtime and also my work time. So okay, so this wooden thing, if you're wondering what the heck it is a wooden drawer. it's deep. I could pull it up higher, but there's some personal stuff back there. So there's a little space here. It's a divided tray. Has a space for whatever you want to put. I use it for pens and pencils. I have my sticky notes and some other stuff in there, and then I have some sticky notes and some erasers and Tylenol, what have you. This one it just has some note paper. It has my highlighters, some additional color pens, and some backup pens. Nobody steals my pens. So my trimmer, my large trimmer lives there. And yeah, it's pretty, I will say, here I'm sitting and I love having things within reach. Like this right here, this drawer has been a game changer for me. Having my most used tools, my punches that I use the most, I recently added my thread twine. That has been working amazingly. Sorry about that, I was off screen. That has been working really, really great. And I'll do a more detailed tour of the drawers if you want, but I often talk about my go-to drawer. It's probably a mess. Sorry about that. Here's my go-to. You guys will know, here's the little tray. Here's some swatches. Here's my little notebooks. There are my little sorters and organizers. It's a really deep drawer, so it helps. Like my work one is there. I have some additional ones down there. And then the nice thing about having the Rascog is that when it's crafty time, I bring it, I just put it right there, and I can just use what I need. I'm pretty happy with the way that it's organized at the moment. And I know I have mentioned in previous videos that I have struggled with exactly what to place in it, but I think I'm good. I have my labels here at the bottom, and I have my distress inks. They're the little minis. I have my photos there. I have some thickers I want to use up. There was no room at the end back there. I have my 6x6 papers and my most commonly used tools and my ATG and my Heidi Swap, my Heidi Shine there. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the bones of like this kind of creative area. I will show you as I pan around here and just kind of show you the rest of it. This is what I was talking about in terms of my cardstock. Right there where you see flat on there, it's just things I have to put away. Again, just haven't had the opportunity to, I just do them in batches. You know, it's a fairly small little pile. So once it gets you know, a little bit larger, or maybe even when I have just some downtime, I will go ahead and I will put those in their respective color sections. And here's the thickers that I was talking about earlier. Again, I've already had these containers in my stash, so I wasn't buying anything new. And this is the top of the shelf. You'll see I have a lot of space there, but I'm short, so I have to get a stool every time I want to get like anything storage related. But I like it that you can't see it, right? If people come down here, not that they do, but if people come down here, like this area is tucked in to the corner back here. So yeah, I don't you know, I don't care if people see this stuff. You should see the rest of it. It's still a work in progress over there, but I'm going to move over there and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is kind of the side view going into my area here. There's no heat down here. That's why that space heater is there. But if you turn over here, this is the table that I have right now. I don't know if this is going to stay there for a long time, but it's a table that I have. It's where my monitor sits. My big kick also lives there. I have some decor. I have some stuff that I've purged. Where am I? Like, anytime I purge anything that I want it kind of out of my room, and I can just grab anytime I'm going like to a crop, or I have friends visiting, I'll have them obviously go through that and see if they want anything. Back here, see if I can get to it. I'm just gonna move this. Back here is how I organize my projects that I'm working on currently. Ooh, sorry about that. I just kicked this thing. I have the different series that I work on. That's just how I organize myself. Again, because I already have these containers in my stash, I put them to good use. That area was just empty, so I might as well, right? I just took one of those baskets I had. You can't even tell, but it's actually a Christmas basket. And this particular month, one of my series has a lot of embellishments, so I've just gone ahead and thrown them in there. But yeah, so I'm gonna flip you guys around again, and I'm gonna show you my tall Alex drawers. Okay guys, so this is this little nook here in the corner as you go into my space. And this is just where I have my tall Alex drawers. On top of the Alex drawers sit my color bins. They're very small. They're from a brand called Snapware, and I bought them at Joann's quite a while ago. I do still see that they do sell them. So if you're interested, I love that they interlock. It's like two different, I think I bought two different drawer systems and then just combined them into one, because again, they just snap into one another. Here, these right here are from these two drawer units. They're wooden, are from IKEA. I've had them again also for a really long time, and I've just decorated them. They were just like you see the blonde wood down in the bottom one. This one I actually painted white. I may do the same for that, but it's not a big priority on my list. On top of that sits my use it up bin. You guys, if you've been following me, you know this is just a clear acrylic bin, and I pull it in to just grab some finishing touches off of that, and I periodically will go through my stash and add some things to that. So this is one of the pieces that I have in my room, and this is the first two drawers are what I limit myself for my scraps. So these are, I'm sorry for the shakiness because I'm kind of hand holding this, but this is where I have my scraps. So you'll see, those are my scraps. I limit that to like the organized scraps, and then this is like anything I've just used recently, I just throw in there. And then once it starts bulking up a little bit, then I go through that top drawer and just organize the scraps. If I have to pull from anything, I can look through either one. These last, I'm sorry for the sun glare thing that's happening when I'm filming this, but these last four, these are iris containers. I bought this whole unit from somebody off of, I want to say it was, I don't think it was Marketplace. It was a really long time ago. I think it was Craigslist, and she was getting rid of it. But I love the fact that they actually fit iris containers. So hold on a second. See, this is an iris container, and they fit perfect. But I like to call the rest of these 4 iris containers really more like dirty little secrets, because I hardly ever go in here. I had actually talked to some friends about actually creating a series using the things in there and call it the dirty little secrets, because everybody has it, right? Everyone has a Monica's closet. Don't tell me you don't. I know you do. Somewhere in your house you have a Monica's closet. Well, some of you might have the dirty little secrets like this. And this kind of stuff is the stuff that if you've been a scrapbooker for over 20 years, I'm sure if you hung on to some of that stuff thinking that it'll come back, well, mine is in there. At least it's limited to 4, right? To 4 iris containers. So like, oh, let me see if I can get, you see some flowers? Yeah. Hoping they make a comeback. Yeah. I can't open them all, but oh, ribbon galore. Look at that. Oh, look. Look at that. Who's in it? Who's in it? Who wants to do the Dirty Little Secrets series or challenge? Let me know. Okay, so since the last update, I have made some changes with regards to the cube units. We just shifted them around the house because of the needs we had in the house. So I am left with, oops, I am left with this cube down here. I need to figure out, I do like my Cricut being there. But I had to remove some of the other stuff that went into my husband's home office. So I need to figure out if I just need another vertical or another double one like this over on this, in this area over here. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. Don't need to make any of those decisions right now, but it's because I reorganized the albums and I added some additional albums that were kind of busting at the seams. I really needed to address that. And I bought some additional ones. You can see they're sitting over there by the Cricut. Those are going to be for my little niece. Those obviously won't always live here, but they're here for now anyway. You know, obviously until she gets older. But yeah, this is coming along really well. And I've just put some of my finished mini albums up there. I do actually need to go through one of those that houses the mini albums. I need to kind of go through them, finish any kind of unfinished products, and maybe just add some photos to some others that have just been sitting around in there finished but without photos for a long time. So all right, I think I just have one more area to show you guys, and then, yeah, we'll call it good. Okay, so this piece of furniture is not scrapbooking related whatsoever. This sits on the corner right next to my closet, and it houses some books and some mostly office supplies. So I don't use that for scrapbooking at all whatsoever. I do use the top of it to store what you see in the iris containers are all of the finished layouts that are ready for albums. So usually once each of those is full at any particular time, I will go ahead and I will take the time to put them away in their respective albums. The other thing that you see there are my some extra albums I had laying around, and those are my divided page protectors. So nothing. I may have, I wonder if I do have some 12 by 12, but it's mostly divided page protectors. And I will tell you that including the little one, I will say that 2 of those will go right back into my stash once those page protectors are gone. I haven't been buying them. So I think once I'm done, I'm just going to stick to just the 12 by 12. But those, once I'm done and those middle gold ones are empty, I will be getting rid of them, and I'll show you why. So you see these albums, right? Beautiful. I don't even know what brand these are. I'm not sure, but you see this? Yeah, I don't have very sharp nails, you know, right? I already filmed this part and I had to refilm because it didn't, I don't know what happened. But look, I've already sanded off some, but look, I don't have to press very hard. Do you see that? Oh yeah. So you can imagine I had to put something in here and look, wait. Hold on, where's my hand? Oh yeah. Isn't that lovely? It's not focusing, but there we go. You see it. Yeah. So you can imagine my horror when I went to take one of these out and I was about to put a layout in there. And I thought for sure this stayed on my brand new Calyx units, and it wasn't going to come off, but it does, because it comes off of anything, including the cardboard that it's on. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I don't know if this is, am I the only one that got suckered into buying these? And look, yeah, it's horrible. All right. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed this. Don't look at the other mess. Like, I still have a lot of stuff that I need to go through in this room and organize. Like, I need to get rid of those vinyl records. I've been dealing with so many areas, other areas in my house. Like, I just don't have the energy right now to do that. It's on my list though. It's on my very long list. Hopefully the sun is not, it's beautiful out. I hope it's not blinding you guys. But yeah, so here's where the magic happens. I love my area so much. It has just evolved over time if you've been following me for a while. And I adore it. I enjoy all the time that I spend down here, for sure. I do hope, and look, it's when it's sunny like this, it's absolutely gorgeous. But I know, I apologize for the glare if it's making you crazy. But yeah, it's beautiful. I'm so blessed to have this own little kind of corner of the house to myself. All right. Well, if you have any specific questions about how I organize, whether it's the drawers or the dirty little secrets or any of the other additional storage things that I've showed today, just please just let me know in the comments, and I can definitely do a more specific targeted video if there's any interest in that. All right, guys, bye for now.